Hello, and welcome to the San Benito Monterey unit. My name is Mark Edria. I'm a division chief here for the West Division. Thank you for coming to this event to recognize Wildfire Awareness Week here in Pebble Beach in the great state of California. I would also like to quickly thank the Pebble Beach Community Service District for being such a gracious host and value cooperator. We picked this specific location to showcase the Fire Safe Demonstration Garden, which is behind us. And if you have time, please tour the garden. It is a great resource. San Benito, Monterey counties have been greatly affected by wildfires in the past. The Marble Cone Fire of 1977, the Morse Fire of 1987, the Basin Complex 2008, and most recently the Pfeiffer Fire of 2013. We're currently in a drought situation and fire activity is on the rise. Here with me today to speak about the prevention and preparedness efforts are some distinguished guests I'd like to introduce to you. Forest Service Region 5 Chief of Fire and Aviation Management, Shauna Lagarza. Major Donald Nadora from the California National Guard. Assistant Chief John Clary, Office of Emergency Services. Monterey County District 5 Supervisor Dave Potter. Jonathan Pangburn, San Benito Monterey Unit Forester. The Director of California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, Ken Pimlott. Deputy Director of California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, Claire Frank. Also, we have Pebble Beach Community Service District General Manager, Mike Nickham, and Deputy General Manager, Suha Kilich. We also have Lou Bauman, CEO of Monterey County. And with that, we'd like to start the presentation with Chief of CAL FIRE, Ken Pimlott.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you everyone for taking the time out of your day to participate in one of our many Wildfire Awareness Week events that are taking place across California. And Pebble Beach is a perfect example of how looks can be deceiving in California as we relate to the fire challenges we face. This has got to be one of the most beautiful landscapes along the coast of California. On a day like today with overcast and fog, the average person would think that there's no fire problem here and that it's moist, not an issue. And I think anybody, for those of you that were here in 1987, as Chief Edria talked about the Morris Fire, you know, on a day when weather conditions changed and a community like this can turn from a green landscape to literally a tinderbox and burn 34 homes, it's cost $18 million, and really turn over people's lives for many, many years. This is the case across California on an average year. This year, after 3 years of well below normal rainfall, we are facing some unprecedented historic drought conditions across the state. Governor Brown in late January declared a drought emergency for California, and with that brought the ability for CAL FIRE and many others to prepare and lean forward and put resources in place much earlier than normal than we would in an average year. This proved itself out as in late January in Humboldt County, a county that's probably one of the wettest places in the country, we were seeing fires over 350 acres burning actively the very first week of January. We're also seeing throughout California the number of fires that we have had have doubled since January 1st to date compared to the average. We have had well over 1,200 fires so far this year, and on average we would maybe have about 600. In the month of January alone, we had over 400 fires, and on average we may generally have no fires in January on average, or just a few. So all of this is telling us we've got conditions really that are unprecedented across California. So we've staffed fire stations early in Southern California, and in many cases along the Central Coast. We never left fire season. Our fire stations and air attack bases have remained staffed all year. And then throughout the rest of the state, We've brought fire stations and fire engines online 2 to 3 months early, and are opening air attack bases and other resources very, very early. And with the governor's support, we've augmented resources with additional firefighters and other staffing to ensure that we're ready to meet the threat here in California that we see and that we know will come. But now it's important for us to recognize and ask the public in California that you need to do your part. 95% of fires in this state are started by people. That means that 95% of those fires can be prevented. It's literally one less spark means one less wildfire. Seen the campaign right here, you can see it on the website. You can also go to Ready for Wildfire. That website has everything that property owners and homeowners in California need to prepare themselves for the fire season ahead. And now is the time to do it. Actually, 2 months ago was the time to start doing it because we are in those conditions now. So we are asking everybody to take this very seriously. It's as simple as preparing your home with defensible space, clearing that 100 feet of vegetation around your home, ensuring that your property has appropriate addressing and is marked clearly so that the firefighters can find your address, find your home when there's smoke in the air and they need to get in there to help protect your property. We go by 3 words that are very clear that you'll see on our website. That's ready, set, go. The ready is all of those things you need to do ahead of time. The defensible space, the preparing your home, the addressing. The set is preparing an evacuation plan so that you know what you're going to take with you if you have to evacuate, so that you know where you're going to evacuate, and that you know that your family is protected with a plan so that everybody knows exactly what they need to do. And lastly, it's the go. And go means leave, and it means leave early. Don't necessarily wait for firefighters or law enforcement officers to tell you it's time. If you know of a fire in the community, pack up your belongings that you've prepared and leave orderly but briskly so that the firefighters can safely come into your community and protect your property. It's key. So again, in summation with me, again, we've done our part. All the cooperators behind me, the local, state, and federal level, we work together in California to prepare and be ready. Now we're asking the public to do your part. Ready for Wildfire. Go to the website, see what you need to do. With that, I'd like to turn the podium over to Chief Shauna Lagarza, the Forest Service Region 5 Director of Fire and Aviation.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for letting the Wildfire Awareness Week come into Pebble Beach and share this interagency message with all the public and all the different firefighting agencies in this area. You know, 2013 fire season never really ended. It was a busy season all across the entire state of California. We fought fire into the fall, into the winter months, and just last month, more fires in Southern California. So as we travel around for the prevention, this awareness week, I talk to lots of the different firefighters from all the agencies, and I talk to the media and different folks, and they ask me, what are you most concerned about? Sometimes what I really think about is I think about the firefighters that have been responding all last year and all through the fall into the winter, and I worry about that. I worry about that a lot, and we love to do that, and we're prepared. We have very professional organizations, but I worry about them getting tired over the months. And so the other things I think about too is just how the public can help us with lessening some of that worrying. Take responsibility in this beautiful area that you live to share the word about fire prevention to people that may be new moving into the area. Share the websites with them, the One Less Spark, One Less Wildfire campaign, which by the way was started here in California, and it got a big National Smoky Bear Award for the ideas of firefighters here interagency in California. Like Chief Pemlott said, go to the website, Ready, Set, Go. Read about the information. And if you've already been there and you visit that, then relook at the bags that maybe you have packed in case you do get evacuated. It's a beautiful area. Make sure you have your stuff ready to go, your medication, your valuables, and definitely know places where you can take your animals, if you have animals. And share that message with your neighbors and be the leader in the community that you are. And thanks to CAL FIRE for allowing the Forest Service to be a part of the Wildfire Awareness Week. This is the first year that we've been together, interagency, spreading the prevention message. We fight fire together all the time on the ground, the boots on the ground, and we're collectively together at the agencies that you see behind me. So with that, I'd like to introduce Major Donald Nadora.
Well, thank you for inviting the California National Guard to speak and also to be part of this event. Got my cheat notes here. In review of the 2013 efforts that the California National Guard, both Army and Air National Guard, has contributed, was dropping nearly 1.5 million gallons of retardant and water during nearly 1,500 aerial drops, predominantly across California and the western states. The interagency cooperation and training is key to the fight. The California National Guard trains regularly throughout the year with CAL FIRE, the California Emergency Management Agency, and the U.S. Forest Service to ensure our effort to combat wildfires is both efficient and effective. The California National Guard maintains a broad range of capabilities to assist the civilian first responders. These capabilities include helicopters outfitted with external water buckets, massive retardant releasing airplanes, communications support teams, aerial search and rescue, both air and ground transport and evacuation, temporary emergency shelter, ground security, and traffic control. Under the dual status command construct, the California National Guard can be seamlessly integrated with the active duty component to provide aerial firefighting capabilities. This includes the Marines at Camp Pendleton and the Navy's 3rd Fleet located in North Island. The CAL FIRE trains the California's active military firefighting personnel in accordance with the NIFC Military Use Handbook to ensure common operational procedures and a unity of effort in the event active duty resources are required. No principle is more important, more overarching to the California National Guard than the readiness of our force. We constantly prepare, train, refine, and deploy our troops so they can serve as a quick and effective military and civil response force for our state and nation. Toward this end, Major General Baldwin has directed the California Military Department leadership to develop a readiness matrix, a concrete, measurable accounting of readiness of the equipment and personnel across the California Guard for all domestic emergencies. Experience translates into readiness, and the experience of the National Guard is at an all-time high. More than 50% of the nation's Guard forces are combat veterans. Having consistently rotated through operations in Afghanistan and Iraq since the conflicts began, our soldiers and airmen stand confident, competent, and equipped to meet the demands of combatant commanders overseas and our governor here at home. In the civilian lives of our soldiers and airmen, work in diverse and skilled capacities throughout their communities as your local mechanics, nurses, police officers, or technology experts. Their depth of life experiences, professional networks, and technical expertise pay great dividends when their communities or the nation calls on them in a time of need. Thank you. The next speaker will be Mr. John Clary. He's the Assistant Chief, California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Thank you.
I think first I want to thank you for inviting me to your paradise, the conversation we had earlier. On behalf of Director Gary Laducci, Fire Chief Kim Zagaris, I just want to share that our thoughts and our prayers are already out there for the people that are already experiencing the drought and the fires that are happening mostly down south at this point. There's a lot of loss, and the way the drought is, it could be worse. The Governor's Office of Emergency Services, when it comes to wildland fire, our job is coordinating between all the different agencies to meet the same goal. We work with CAL FIRE very closely, the U.S. Forest Service very carefully, local government. We do a whole lot of work with the local government agencies. We supply them with engines so that they can respond when needed. We're with them daily, trying to coordinate and make it go. This year, we've leaned a little bit forward, not completely. The local government people are ready, and that's our goal, is that when CAL FIRE needs that surge of help, or the Forest Service needs that surge of help, we're there and we're ready to go. The other thing that we do is we have a private partnership with the private people. We're prepared. We have contracts with them for specialized equipment, food, supplies, and everything in the need of an emergency. The one thing that does happen with mutual aid that people don't understand is it takes a while to put it together. We can get hundreds of engines to somewhere within 12 hours. We can't get hundreds of engines there in an hour. So what does that mean to the citizen? It means that they need to be prepared. They need to be using the websites to get ready, to have their own plan. They need to have all their clearances done. I just can't share enough how much we need to be able to take care of ourselves as much as relying on all of these first responders and people that come. I just pray. That's all I can do is pray about this season and how it's going to go. Thank you. Let's introduce somebody. Supervisor Potter. And I told you I'd get it right.
Good man. Thanks, John. I am Dave Putter, and I am the 5th District County Supervisor. Ken was good enough to read off the history of fires in this area. Oddly enough, every single one of them was in the 5th District. I want to let you know that I am here with Lou Bauman, County Administrative Office, and my Chief of Staff, Kathleen Lee, right here. My office happens to be about the first place people call when there's a fire. They want to know what they should do, who they should contact. And we learned a lot of lessons from the Basin Fire. That was a very, very complex, as it's called, Basin Complex Fire. A very complex process given all of state and federal property owners, the local individual citizenry that own property, and then what was the communication going to be amongst all those agencies that were involved. I think with the Pfeiffer fire, which just happened recently, we had an excellent line of communication. Kathleen was in Big Sur on a daily basis, making sure that my office was up to date on what was happening. So when people called from outside of this area wanting to know what was happening to family and friends, we were able to keep them informed and let them know what was happening. And as much as this is well represented by the firefighters here today, the real people that we need to talk to today are the residents. Because there's an adage that says an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It really falls to the individual property owner to go ahead, increase those defensible areas around their property, remove the potential fuel that's lying in and around the residences. And at the county, we've done what we can to expedite that process, to go ahead and put a county-wide wildfire protection plan in place that is a roadmap to how you can and can't clear your property. But that document is useless unless the public actually steps forward, says we realize we need to be the first line of defense. So those of you that are here today, I truly appreciate you being here. I hope that you can get the word out in this community, because as Ken pointed out, it was only less than a mile from here where 160 acres burned with 31 structures. That was 27 years ago, May 31st of 1987. That was a long time ago in some people's memories. The memory of the public isn't too terribly long, but we need to realize that there are lessons to be learned. We just don't want to be that lesson. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Pangburn. I'm the unit forester here for San Benito and Monterey counties with CAL FIRE. And I'd just like to touch on a couple of points that Supervisor Potter brought up. Doing your part is certainly important on any given year, but right now we're in a terrible drought situation. We've seen it locally with the Pfeiffer fire that happened on December 16th, just after midnight. Normally on the coast, we're not expecting to have fires in the middle of December, and especially around midnight. It's something that we have to be prepared for, though, obviously. Unfortunately, it was a very devastating fire. And then following that, in March, on March 19th, we had the Encinal fire outside of Salinas, still here in Monterey County. That ended up burning about 400 acres, again in March, normally a time that you would think of for rain in this area and green grass. Well, we did have some green grass, but there's sufficient vegetation and fuel, especially the old dead material out there, that the fire carried for 400 acres in the middle of March. And finally, just a couple weeks ago, we had the San Lucas fire outside of King City that ended up burning another 75 acres. Conditions are obviously ripe for wildfires. Our fuels are drier than they have ever been for this time of year. It looks more like June or even July and into August in many areas in our communities. And that means that we need to be prepared for that time of year, despite it being now May. So for Wildfire Awareness Week, I would just like to remind everyone that the fuel conditions with our drought situation are such that we need to make sure that we're ready year round. And with that, I'd like to bring it back to you, Assistant Chief Mark Edria. Thank you.
You know, I got to say, my kids are going to be very disappointed in me. Of all the distinguished guests we have, I forgot to introduce Smokey the Bear. And I realize that. I'm sorry, Smokey. I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. We'd like to remind all residents in the wildlands and the wildland urban interface areas to be prepared for wildfire this season. We are staffed and ready to provide the offense in case of wildfire. We need you to provide the defense by providing and maintaining a minimum of 100-foot defensible space around your home. We also recommend having an emergency plan and practicing exit drills with your family. For more information regarding these plans, please visit readyforwildfire.org. And this opens the question and answer session if we have any questions.